Well, hi everybody. There's been more communications from Drake. This last one was 3 hours and 25 minutes long. If you have the time, you should probably listen to it, but I know if you're watching this, all you want to do is get right to the meat. So I'll give you an idea of what's going on here, because I listened to the whole thing. If you've been following this whole story, you will realize that Drake said at some point in time that there was going to be a green light. He was going to receive information from the Pentagon, and they were going to give him green light, which means that stuff is supposed to happen in the immediate future, which would mean within a week. Okay. Now, from what I can see, the time this was on the 27th that this message was given out, and the 4th of July is within a week's time. So let me put it this way: if I was the one planning to free our country, I would pick the 4th of July to do it. What better time? You know, I mean, let's face it. Independence Day, we get independence. We get rid of all the scum, and our country goes back, and our Constitution's back in order. That's what's supposed to happen. Let's well, I'll give you the message that he was supposed to pass on. Oh, excuse me, I'm a little tired. The message he was supposed to pass on is this: the cavalry is on its way, and these are his exact words. So sit back and watch the fireworks. Now, if you don't know who Drake is a member of some militias. You know, like down in Georgia, there's independent militias all over the place, and they are all over the country, and they're all pretty well trained. They're ex-military, stuff like that. So when the Pentagon contacted him, they told him that, and this is before, this is not just this recent one, but you know, their idea was to get all these militias on board with them in case they needed them, you know, to back up, maybe to protect bridges and things like that. Now, supposedly, according to the information that's out there, and you can find this stuff on the web, they have found many explosive devices on bridges and other important infrastructure all over the country, including some nuclear devices. Okay, I don't know whether I believe that or not, but I wouldn't put it past those idiots that are in charge of our whole country, or running the whole thing. Excuse me. It wouldn't surprise me a bit that they would do that kind of stuff. But we only have his word to take for it. So, you got to be a little skeptical. Anyway, if something doesn't happen between now and the 4th of July, I would say that this whole thing is a big, giant scam. Now, there's only one thing that you need to know. Well, there's a couple of things. In Denver, underneath the Denver airport, way down deep, maybe as much as a mile down, the Illuminati and the New World Order banksters have built underground places for them to live when the shit hits the fan up here on top on the ground. And they also had one, they have a lot of them in different places, but there was two main ones. There's one outside of Washington, D.C., and there's one underneath the Denver airport. Now, supposedly a few months back or whatever, there was some explosions that when they looked at the Richter scale, like, the tracings that's on the paper, it measures tremors and stuff like that and earthquakes. Well, a tremor, an earthquake will have a bouncy line like this, and it gets a little bigger because there's pre-shocks and aftershocks. And that's always the case. Pre-shocks, then a big tracing like this, and then small ones after with little aftershocks. Well, mysteriously, the tracings that they had, there was two explosions underneath the ground, earthquakes they called them, but they had the same signature as nuclear bombs going off when they do underground testing. And then, so that one happened out in Denver, and then 12 hours later, outside of Washington, D.C., they had another one with the identical tracer signature. Okay? So you just put two and two together, and something happened. And from what they say, this was the Pentagon closing off access to these underground facilities for the New World Order people. Now, the tracings are definitely there, and they do show exactly an underground nuke. So that leads me, that's a little bit of evidence pointing towards the truth. Now, in the streets of Missouri, we have military, tanks, and so forth and so on. They call them exercises, training, but this is clearly intimidation if it's anything. But it's not anything benign, I can tell you that much. So if we have, and that's not the only one, there's like 5 or 6 different places in the country where the military is actively having training sessions in the streets of our country. They could be practicing for declaring martial law. That's a possibility. It seems rather strange that they have all this going on at this particular time. Now, those could be the bad guys, or those could be the good guys, just waiting for some shit to go down, and then they're going to arrest people or whatever. And there was a report of some people who were flying from, I think, California, and they were flying. Anyway, they had to have a stopover in Denver, but Denver was closed off. And from what the news was that they got was that the Army was in there, the military was in Denver Same kind of things, but they were arresting people, and supposedly they arrested over 200 or 300 people. Now this is the stuff that's out there. Believe it, don't believe it, I don't know. But these are reports. We're not getting any of this stuff from our media. All right, these are reports that are coming in from people that live in those areas. Okay, and something's going on, and hopefully by the 4th of July we'll have our country back, or it'll be gone for sure. So God only knows. Anyway, just thought I'd bring you up to date. We'll see what happens. Take it easy. Bye-bye.